Yo, 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 what up, what up? Welcome back to a special edition of Blurred Lines. I'm your host, as always, Reggie Nobles. With me today is our friend, our favorite handicapper, America's favorite degenerate, JP. What's going on, my brother?
What's happening, buddy? How you been, man?
Man, I've been good, my man. How have you been, man? Happy holidays.
Thank you. You too, man. I hope it was good. Yeah, I had a great one. Came down with a little bout of whatever cold flu, whatever is going around. Lost my voice for a week, which I missed talking to you, man. It was rough though for about a week. Me and some of my brother-in-laws went to the Hurricanes game right after Christmas, where we
Yeah.
beat the shit out of the Caps, which was awesome. But I guess I got a little too enthusiastic and screamed a little bit too much and
Left your voice
lost
there, huh?
lost my voice. On top of having a little cold, which didn't help. So I'm sure my wife was appreciated me not being able to speak for a week. But other than that,
Right.
it was pretty good. But I did miss
Whatever
talking
it
to
takes
you,
to
man.
make her
Missed,
happy, huh?
yeah. I did miss talking to you though, man. A lot of stuff's gone down. A lot of good games. A lot of coaching changes. So it's I know we got a
Yeah,
lot
man.
lot to get to. So
Yeah, man, it's been exciting, man. We actually, I don't know if you got a chance to check out our um, press conference preview, our reaction to Matt Rule's show. I'm sorry, press conference.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
sorry
did.
about
It was awesome. That was one of those days I wished I had a little bit of a voice because I would have loved to talk to you that day.
that. What did you think overall of his press conference? What do you think of the hire itself?
Boy, I the hire I love. I was a little shocked actually the day it happened. I knew we were
Hmm.
going to interview some other guys. Josh McDaniels. I know we'd already met with McCarthy twice. I was actually really excited about McCarthy. I thought
Really?
that would have been a good fit. Um, but the way it shook out, it just kind of hit, big time contract, 7 years, all
Hmm.
70 million with incentives, plus a $6 million buyout at Baylor. Tepper
Hmm.
he's ready to spend. I think he
Well,
spent
he's
two.
loaded.
He's loaded, and 2 years. 2 years he sat and watched and learned and kind of seen how things played out,
Hmm.
and then Rule's press conference was, I mean, I don't. It sounded like a mix of a preacher, a motivational speaker, the best car salesman in the world, and I mean all those in a very good way. Like
Hmm.
it was inspiring. Like it made me
Yeah.
feel, feel lazy for not getting up and running 5 miles before work every
Absolutely.
day. Like he got me pumped up. Uh, so I was a little taken back at first when I saw the numbers and how quick it was before we interviewed everybody else. But once McCarthy was off the board, and apparently Tepper was sold on him from his interview, and I like it, man. I like it. I'm excited. Something else that Tepper said after the press conference when he was, he's basically giving Rule a blank check to go find his assistants, his coordinators, and he made a little comment like, you know, we're gonna, the Panthers are going to spend money, you know, no holds barred, and he kind of turned back to the reporters. It was like, I've kind of heard that their owner has a few resources, kind of wink, wink, like money is no object.
Right.
So which was fun. It's good to hear. That's something you want your whatever team, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, you want your owner to be competitive and not
Hmm.
complacent. And um,
Right.
I love MJ with the Hornets, but he doesn't spend money. We have to kind of luck into fringe players and hope draft picks hit and all that. But this is exciting and fun. And I heard a rumor that he may be going after Joe Brady from LSU after the game Monday for offensive coordinator.
Hmm.
That's exciting. Overall, yes, I'm absolutely excited. I think next year may be a rebuilding year. If we got a tank for Trevor, we got a tank for Trevor. But he's gonna instill a great culture down there, and Tepper's gonna spend money. I think overall it's a good day going forward for the Panthers.
Yeah, man. I mean, I agree with 98% of what you said. I don't think we're going to be in a rebuilding year, man. I don't think we had many missing pieces from this year. We did have some injuries on the offensive line, and obviously the biggest injury of all was our boy Cam. But I think with a healthy play caller, shoot, man. I mean, in the NFC South, we're pretty competitive, man, and our schedule next year lines up pretty favorable. We've got the damn Raiders on there, so that should be a W. We played Tampa twice. That gives us 3. We'll split with Atlanta. So, I mean, I'm already seeing us getting at least 4 wins next year.
Yeah.
We got Green Bay and Green Bay again, which is weird as hell. I guess for some reason they can't come here. But
well, it's like Seattle. We played Seattle 4 times in the last 5 years, and I feel like most of those we were at home.
Yeah.
I get the schedule, but sometimes I don't get the schedule, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to do it. But the main thing, and the only reason I think it could be, it's the quarterback. I mean, that's what it boils down to. What are we going to do with quarterback? Is Cam going to come back? Is Cam going to get an extension? Is he going to play it out? Are we going to roll with Allen and Greer and try to get the highest pick possible? Are we going to go out and get Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning? Carson.
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton. Thank you. What are we going to do?
Someone to fill the void for a year. Yeah, and again, man,
And I think we need to either it's a shit or get off the pot thing. Like I don't want to go get Andy Dalton because that's 8-8. I don't want to get Eli Manning because that's 8-8. I think highly of Eli, but we got to pick a side. And if we're going to go for it, let's go for it. If we're not, there's a long-haired kid that looks like sunshine about 5 hours away that I think would just, him and McCaffrey and Kuechly and DJ Moore and, some of these guys.
And speaking on Kuechly, I mean, how many more seasons is he going to be able to play at that level?
Right.
Right. I mean, hell, we saw Ray Lewis do it for years, but I think there was a massive physical difference between the two guys. I'm not saying that Luke doesn't take care of his body, but, we saw the head injuries early. He's been, he's always having these little ailments, which, I mean, again, when you play the game at that speed, running downhill, and you're in on every play, you're going to be banged up. But, I mean, so I think right now we have our best opportunity right now. I think, we can figure out, who's going to be calling the shots. I think it's going to be Cam. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. The guy should be healthy to start the season off. And, I mean, $19 million is not any money to pay a quarterback, especially a franchise quarterback, when the market, the franchise tag, the market's indicating it's going to be about $26 million. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you can bring in a guy like Cam who knows the team at least, familiar with the field, for $7 million under the market value. I think we're winning there. Even if it's not a long-term thing, you know what I mean? So, I'm hoping though, man. I'm hoping real hard that he has a comeback, man, and we can see the 2015 kid again. I don't think we're far from it, man. I still got faith in him.
Yeah, and I'd be right there with you. I'd be more than happy if Cam came back, if that's the direction we decide to go. It's just, but I think Rule will implement this, but it will be there will be a clear and defined direction going forward, which I don't think we've kind of had. Rivera's a great coach, and I have nothing but respect. And I love him for everything he did, but
right,
I guess it got stale. It's kind of the same thing with McCarthy. Like, you have talent, but you just can't get the most out of it. Things just kind of get complacent, and you see that with the 2 losing streaks we've had the last 2 years. And it's I think the change will be good. Change for change's sake doesn't always work. If you look at the Cleveland Browns, the New York Jets, things like that. But if you have a clear and defined path going forward, which I think we will now, that's the best thing. And that's what I'm excited for. We have a plan.
That's what's up.
We don't know what that plan is yet, but
we've got one.
We've got one. And like you were saying about Luke, I had to go look a couple times this season because it was almost like, and I don't know if you felt this way, but I'd had to look at his he actually had a good statistical year. I think he made the Pro Bowl again. But it seemed like a down year optically. It just felt like it may not have been, but it just felt that way. And I don't know if that was just in my head, the team's performance overall, or the losing streaks, or the trouble at the quarterback position, but it just felt like a down year for Luke, and
Yeah,
maybe
no,
I'm
I
wrong,
didn't really
but
feel that. I mean, well, hell, he was on the field so damn much.
yeah,
He should have had a great statistical year.
yeah,
So, um, but yeah, I mean, I get it, man. Overall, it just didn't feel like anybody outside of 22 was playing great. You know what I mean? Just because
yeah,
the wow moments that he had, and
yeah,
hell, outside of week 8, I mean, our defense was in, statistically ranked in like the top 5 in almost every category for the first 8-9 weeks of the season. And
hmm,
then it just, the bottom fell out. When Kyle Allen revealed himself as a fraud, the rest of the team followed, man. It was
yeah,
just, it was horrible. I mean, like, our defense literally went from one of the best defenses in the league to almost last in every category. We couldn't stop water from running,
yeah,
so I can understand why you feel like, he didn't have a great year because, I mean, we gave up a whole lot of big plays and, I mean, just couldn't stop the run. Just simple run plays,
yeah.
man, seem to, like, just bog the defense down, man, and confuse us in the worst way that you're not really used to seeing number 59 in those situations, so.
Yeah,
So,
as a fan, it's frustrating. I mean, this 2 years in a row, we got our butt whooped by Pittsburgh, and the season just spiraled. We got our butt whooped by San Francisco, and the season just, well, we did play tough and gave Green Bay a game the next week, but it just seemed like
but,
kind of the writing was on the wall. Like it was,
yeah, it was a wrap
they
after that.
exposed Kyle Allen, they exposed the team, and it was rough. I did. Yeah, 22 had a great year, but I was really impressed by DJ Moore this year. I mean, 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah, no doubt.
Outside of week 1, where he fumbled, the fumbleitis kind of came back. I was like, oh, same old thing with
Yeah.
DJ. But he really kicked it up, and he showed a lot of heart. He got hit several times this year, and it looked like his arm was about to fall off, or
Yeah.
his leg was about to fall off, and he kept coming back, kept coming back. I thought he showed a lot of heart, a lot of grit. He showed
Yeah.
me a lot, and I was really impressed with DJ Moore for the first time as in his Panther career. I was really impressed with him, and I'm
Yeah.
really excited about him going forward too.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, he was he was a number 1 wide receiver in fantasy this year. I had him on
Yeah,
one of my teams, man, and I played him each and every week, man. And it's always great when you can pull for your team and you got a guy in fantasy making noise. You know what I mean? And
oh yeah,
you're right, though. He did step it up. I mean, he still went out to work on some of those things. Basic fundamentals like protecting the ball, because there were several times throughout the year where he had the ball exposed from his body, and it get poked away, and a couple times he lost it, especially early in the season where he was just trying to make a play. But I think he'll get better at that as he matures. You know what I mean, and understands
yeah,
you just take what you get. You know what I mean, and
yeah.
not every yard's a good yard. So. So yeah, that was a shining light, man. Curtis Samuel looked pretty good when he played. Um,
They really integrated him into the run game. A lot of
hmm
a lot of end arounds, flea flickers, things
hmm
like that. Which
hmm
that goes to North Turner's play calling, which I was happy with. We didn't really always execute, and a lot of that was on Kyle Allen. But but yeah, I agree. Curtis Samuel. You said you had DJ Moore. I had Curtis Samuel on my fantasy team, and he had a couple of solid weeks. He had a couple of big weeks, and especially in the run game, which was really impressive. They found his strengths. They found his niche, and ran with it, and I was impressed by that.
hmm Yeah, man. Well,
So
you
all
ready to
that
talk turkey,
all,
man?
all that said, a team that's done for the year, but they are our boys, and yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, honestly, man, it's the most exciting thing that's happened this year.
Yeah, yeah,
Was the
exactly.
season ended.
Yeah, and now the fun begins. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
anyway, segue into divisional round weekend. Got four big games coming up. Lot of big lines, a lot of big lines. Uh,
Yeah.
so let's jump right in. So, couple of little nuggets here. In the wild card round, the underdogs do tend to have a little bit more success historically, win more games, cover more spreads. When you get to this round, it teeters more toward the favorites, the
So,
home teams.
mm-hmm.
Obviously, because they're better teams, they've had a week off.
Mm-hmm.
The last team, and of course, the last team played a hard fought win or die, go home kind of game the weekend before. That
Right.
especially rears its head on Saturdays. Favorites on Saturdays against the spread are 15-5 against the spread and 18-2 straight up in their last 20. So the favorites tend to cover these games, especially on Saturday. Now Sundays, the teams that have come through the wild card have probably got a whole week off. And got that extra day of rest, so it does even out a little bit more. But this round more is geared toward the favorites. So when you look at that, Minnesota, they had that big win against New Orleans. Kirk Cousins had a couple of monster throws. Thielen, did his thing. I was really disappointed in Diggs pouting on the sidelines, throwing a fit because he wouldn't get the ball in a playoff game that you're winning. You just can't have that. But everybody else stepped up. The defense played well, exerted a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Their reward, they got to go to San Francisco.
Right.
So
A team that's going to be healthier than they've been in weeks.
Oh,
Bringing
yeah.
back two studs on defense.
yeah.
You know.
So with that said, though, this is a large. So it's the spread opened at 7, and it has held steady at 7 the whole week. The only thing that's changed is the over under has gone up 2 points or down. Excuse me, down 2 points. Opened at 46.5. Now it's at 44.5. I do have a lean. I like the over in this game.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking the under in this game. San Francisco's defense is stout, like you said. They've had a couple games this year where they've just shut offensive down. I think the Green Bay game they won 37-8. They shut out the Redskins, which that's not saying much, but they kept the Rams in check this year. The only team that really scored on was Arizona, but that's a team that's just geared to score. They're not going to play any defense.
Right.
So. But I do kind of lean toward the under in this game. So the differences in San Francisco and Minnesota, and New Orleans. So New Orleans had a top 5 ground defense against. According to DVOA, San Francisco is a top 10. So New Orleans actually was better against the run than San Francisco this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've got Dalvin Cook, who's a monster when he's healthy.
Right.
Then you got Stephon Diggs. He had a little illness this week, and hopefully he's got his attitude fixed a little bit. And then Thielen had that freak injury in practice, got stitches in his ankle. So those are all big keys to this game. It looks
and
like
they're
they're
coming
both
off of that overtime too, right?
right.
You factor that in.
Well, yeah, but it was a quick overtime. One drive and a touchdown.
Really was.
So,
It went, yeah. Wasn't like the other game.
right, but they are on short rest because that game was on Sunday. So
Yeah.
and this
it
game,
was.
so but like we've said multiple times throughout the year, these are professional athletes. They they're going to be focused. They're going to be ready to go. They might be a little bit more fatigued than San Francisco, but they're going to give it all they had. New Orleans even had a so on the other side of the ball, New Orleans even had a better offensive line than San Francisco, and the Vikings their D line did a great job. So if they can continue that, they should have a little bit more success against San Francisco. They held Alvin Kamara in check, and I'm sorry, like Raheem Mostert is not Alvin Kamara. So
Right.
Again, if they can replicate that and hold San Francisco's run game in check, I think they can keep it close. I think San Francisco wins this game. I think 7 points is a little much. The only thing that worries me are the games like the San Francisco game I mentioned. The Green Bay game that I mentioned. San Francisco blew them out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
They had a couple. They blew us out of the water. there's the possibility there that San Francisco could be clicking on all cylinders. I think Minnesota has grown up a lot. They're kind of riding this wave of emotion and momentum, and nobody really expects them to do much. And that's a great situation to be in. All the pressure's on San Francisco, I feel like. So,
Yeah, no, you're
but
right. It definitely is.
with that said, it's a key number at 7. I like that number. I think either Minnesota can keep it within a touchdown, or at least maybe get a backdoor score coming down toward the end, and at the very worst, push that number, which is kind of what we saw in the Buffalo Tennessee game. That was the only game I missed last weekend, and it was a push. I held off, and I finally took Houston -3, and they won by 3, so it was a push. No big deal, but but
So you're
long
going
story
to
short,
take the Vikes to cover.
I like the Vikes +7.
Okay.
With a slight lean on the under. That's
But outright winning, you like the 49ers.
I like the 49ers. Yeah.
And you also like the under in this game too, right?
Just a little bit. I feel better about the spread than I do the under, but yeah. So that's where I'm going on that one.
Okay.
I might. That's the one game this weekend. I might sprinkle a little bit on the money line, just because I wish I'd have done that last week. I took Minnesota +10 against New Orleans. I kind of wish I had put just a smidge on the money line, because it was like +300 or something ridiculous. I just really I didn't think that they would win the game. I thought they would cover the spread, which they did, obviously. But that's the one game this weekend I might sprinkle a little bit on the money line. So
Both of these defenses are stingy against points, though. They're both top 5 teams against points, so neither one of them allow over 19 points a game. And 49ers throw up almost 30 a game on average, which is shocking. They're the second highest scoring team in the league.
But like you said, if both defenses play up to their level in a game like that where it's low scoring, 7 points is monster. That's a lot of points. I mean, if you're looking at 24-17, you still get a push. 24-20, 21-17, those kind of games, you're gonna hit that under, and those 7 points come in huge. So
Yeah.
it's kind of what I'm looking to play out there. So
Sounds good, man. Well, hey, let's pause real quick, man.
yes, sir.
All right, man. Appreciate your patience there. We're back. All right, so we just wrapped up the 49ers-Vikings game. So who you got next?
All right, so Tennessee, Baltimore. So the line opened at 10. Baltimore -10. 48.5. It's now down to 9.5. 47.5. So dropping just a little bit. I'm just going to preface it. I don't think you can give Baltimore enough points in this game. I think they're going to roll. So Baltimore is built on building a lead and then suffocating you. And I think that's the game plan. I mean, this game's going to be a lot's going to be decided in the first quarter. Baltimore outscores their opponents. I think it's something ridiculous. I didn't write down the number, but it's like 137 to 40 or something in the first quarter. They've outscored opponents. So that's their MO. Jump out to a lead and then run it down your throat. Tennessee did a great job against New England. Got to give them all the credit in the world. That was when I loved Tennessee in that game. Did take a little bit on the money line on that one. And to see Belichick get out coached and outmaneuvered by Vrabel, especially in that delay of game.
Oh my God! We didn't even talk about that. How dope was that?
And the thing is, so Belichick exposed that loophole in the rules in the Jets game when they were up 33-0. You didn't need to do it. I get it. You're just trying to run some clock in a game that you're up 33-0, but you played your hand. One of your disciples sees that and uses it against you in the playoffs to knock you out and send you home. It was
what they used?
genius.
What, a minute and 45 seconds or something like that?
Oh no! They took it from almost 7 minutes to under 5.
Right.
Just and Belichick was steaming. And that's one of the things I don't understand about. So they get this label as cheaters. I've called them cheaters, but they do that against the Jets in a 33-0 game, and you play your hand. You waste that, and you show somebody how to use it. They got busted filming the Bengals. Why? The first Spygate was against the Jets. Why? You know, I mean, like the Deflategate game. That was a game they won 45-7, if I remember
No,
correctly.
it was. They could, yeah, yeah. That was a game that I mean, there was really,
Just
literally no reason to do anything there. I mean, they could have
and
beat the Colts with a freaking frisbee, but yeah,
and a, and also in a game that they ran the ball 47 times. Like it didn't make it's just none of it's in they don't use they do it, they skirt the rules, they cheat, whatever you want to call it, but they don't do it at the right times. Like do it anyway. Loved it, absolutely loved it. Vrabel was a genius to throw that back in his face.
yes,
Belichick was pissed, and shout out to Tony Romo for he knew the rule, explained the rule as it was happening. The rules analyst came on and explained it, but I thought Romo did an even better job of putting it in the context of the game. The whole thing was just gripping television, and I loved it. That was awesome. So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah. I don't know if you saw the Onion's headline on Tony Romo. Did you?
did not.
It
I did
said
not.
Tony Romo now realizes he should have used his skills to analyze games while he played football.
It does make you wonder. Was the team around him just not that bad? Because I never realized what a intellectually just smart quarterback he was. I just thought, he's Cowboys quarterback. I hate him. I never realized how freaking smart he was.
Yeah.
And maybe most quarterbacks are like that. And he just has a great way of articulating it in calling games. But he has found his calling, and I love watching games that Romo's calling. Anyway, back to the game. So Baltimore has one of the best offensive lines in the game. If Lamar wants time to throw the ball, he'll get it. If he wants to run the ball, he'll run the ball. But if they're going to pressure him into throwing, kind of like San Diego did last year in the playoffs, and shut him down, what a very unique defense they used against him in the playoffs last year. I think they had 8 secondary players and 3 linemen for the whole game, and it completely rattled them. They couldn't do anything. I think he's matured as a passer. He's gotten so much better. He's not going to get shut down by that this year.
Yeah.
This team is a juggernaut. The Tennessee pass defense is suspect. Brady was off on his throws, dropped passes. Edelman dropped a pass. Drawing a blank. The Sony Michel was dropping passes. Brady was off on some of his throws. I don't think Baltimore's going to make the same mistakes against a suspect pass defense from Tennessee. So,
well, I think their defensive numbers have been skewed playing in a weak AFC South this year.
That's true.
They've given up almost 260 yards passing a game and over 100 yards rushing. And this is the only team that made the AFC playoffs that the Titans, the Ravens didn't face. And so they hadn't seen anything like what they're about to see today. And every expert, I think you're all on it, loves the Ravens. I think I saw the FPI on ESPN had them at an 82% probability to win.
I was gonna say it's over 80%, which is crazy. I mean, I've looked at this game backward and forwards. I mean, I can throw. Tennessee has issues with tight ends. Gronk retired, so New England couldn't exploit that. But who does Baltimore have? Your boy.
Yeah.
And I think he's in line for a big game.
They've got 3 guys that can get. They got 3 guys that can run it. Led by Lamar, who had over 1,200 rushing yards. I mean, you still got 1,000-yard back in Mark Ingram, another Heisman Trophy winning player there, and Gus Edwards, man, had over 700 yards rushing. I mean,
which is crazy.
Right.
That's just a crazy stat. I mean, McCaffrey had a little over 1,000, but this is their third best running option, and he's got 700 yards. That's just insane to me.
Right. So yeah, I just don't think Tennessee and hats off to Tennessee for a great year, but I think it ends today too, man. So I would bet the farm on this game, man. What do you like on the points there? It was 47.5, 48 over under.
Let's see what I say. 47.5. Yeah. Yeah, I like the. I'm all over the under. I think the weather's going to be a little bit of a factor. It's supposed to rain a little bit. Both of these teams are ground oriented. That runs the clock. If Baltimore gets a lead, they're gonna try to run it all day long. If Tennessee happens to get a lead, they're going to try to run it all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the under. That's one of my stronger plays this weekend is the under in this
Okay.
game. It has dropped. Yeah, it has dropped since the line opened. I could see it dropping a little bit more by game time, depending on the weather. The
Mm-hmm.
wind isn't supposed to be terribly bad, but it is supposed to be sloppy
Well, it's
and
supposed
a
to be
little
in like the
rainy. So,
60s though, so
well, the
it won't
cold.
be cold and rainy.
No. But it will be a wet field. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think that's a huge factor, but more so the just the tactical game plan, but of these two teams is run the ball. Speaking of which,
Gotcha.
so on the Tennessee side, Derrick Henry is the X factor. I mean, that's the big thing. If Baltimore does get up big, Tennessee won't be able to stay committed to the run, and they'll force Mariota, Tannehill to throw
Tannehill.
the ball. Which
He's not
he's
been
had a
bad at
great
this year.
he's had a great season. I give him all the props in the world. He came in and really rejuvenated that team.
Yeah.
I mean Baltimore is big on getting up in the first quarter, but Tennessee is great. Tennessee's 8-1 this year when they lead at the half. I mean
Yeah.
they know how to close out games. We saw that last week. So um, Baltimore, but then on the other side, Baltimore's got one of the best pass defenses, and I think they do have the best pass defense in the league since they traded for Marcus Peters.
Mm-hmm.
John Harbaugh's 9-3 against the spread off a bye. I mean just stat after stat. So yeah, love Baltimore, and a strong feeling on the under on that game as well.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's take it
All
over to
right.
Sunday's games, man.
Sunday, Kansas City and Houston. So
Shootout.
shootout over all day long, 51. Like I said, Baltimore. I don't think you can give them enough points. I don't think this over under can be high enough in my book, unless it approaches that 50. A few key numbers, 57, 58, things like that. But I love the over in this game. I also, again, love Kansas City. Kansas City's my pick. I put a little future bet on Kansas City to win the Super Bowl
Okay.
before the playoffs started. Got a decent little number on it. I love Kansas City. I want I want nothing more in the world to see Baltimore and Kansas City play next week. I think it'll be the game of the year. It'll top that San Francisco New Orleans game. Um, but love Kansas City here. Coaching. Bill O'Brien is no Andy Reid. Yeah, Andy Reid has had issues in the playoffs, especially at home. I think he's 1-3 at home in the playoffs at Arrowhead. He's got a losing record, 13-15, I think overall, even with a Super Bowl run with the Eagles. But this is his best team he's had. I mean, best quarterback. The defense has finally come around. Um, Houston did beat Kansas City earlier in the season, but Chris Jones, one of the best defensive players in the NFL, didn't play in that game. And that was a shootout, 31-24.
Mm-hmm.
They had two offensive linemen missing, Eric Fisher and Andrew Wiley, Sammy
Mm-hmm.
Watkins.
Mm-hmm.
All those guys are going to play.
Right.
Uh, but all you say about Andy Reid in the playoffs, he is a monster off the bye. He's
Yeah.
I mean that's his mo. He's like 18-3 all time off the bye or something. He's had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. And Houston struggled with Buffalo. They were down 16-0 in that game for Buffalo. Questionable play
Yeah,
calling.
God
Their
Almighty.
their offensive coordinator was a hot coaching commodity going into that game, and I think he lost a lot of cred in that game that he's going to have to build back up next year. The play calling. Josh Allen went back to Wyoming. Josh Allen, he's throwing 47-yard passes to his fullback, like for like it's just
Right.
taking sacks when you got to throw the ball away. There's just so many issues with that game. Another bet that I love in this game, Kansas City, their team total is set at 30. Love that over. They're going to blow past 30. They're going to. I think they'll cover the spread, but I know they'll score more than 30 points. I just don't see Houston's defense, J.J. Watt or not, being able to stop them from scoring 30 is not that bad. That's a couple of touchdowns in each half. You've seen Mahomes put up three touchdowns in a quarter,
right.
like it's nothing. So I love Kansas City. Their team over. If you get that around anywhere from 29 to 31, 32, I haven't seen it any higher than that. But I love that over. Houston's their adjusted DVOA is like 19th, and overall they're like 26th in DVOA. This is not a great defense. Uh, I love Kansas City. Love the over.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're not alone on that, man. I think everybody agrees with you. Again, you're looking at, a 82% win probability, 83% on 538. I mean, everybody just loves the Chiefs, and for all the reasons that you just pointed out.
Yeah, and New Orleans was favored big, but those FBI FPI numbers weren't as high on them. The 538 wasn't as high on them. There was reasons. There was holes in that team you could see. There was now nobody expected Breeze to have the game he did, but there was holes in that team that you could see. You shut down Michael Thomas. You shut down a big part of their offense. You shut down Alvin Kamara. You shut down another big part of their offense. There were signs that pointed to Minnesota maybe not winning the game, but covering the spread. You don't have that this week. I mean, other than a wave of maybe emotion and J.J. Watt coming. I don't like intangible stuff, but every sign to me points to a big Kansas City win. And I can't wait for next Sunday if Baltimore and Kansas City play. That'll
be a fun game.
Yeah, I mean it'll be just the late Christmas present for Jason. So.
Yeah, you man.
All right.
So we're all in
So
on the
let's-
Chiefs. All right.
All in on the Chiefs, all the way, baby. And then let's finish it up. Seattle and Green Bay. This
Most
just
interesting
has
game of the week, huh?
it's got that feel. It's the last game. It's the fourth game. It's the primetime game on Sunday. Everything points to this being coming down to the last possession. Do you not get that feeling? Like I just feel like it's going to be a field goal at the end. And you can say Green Bay has had a great season, but I think they're a little overrated at 13-3. They barely beat Carolina. They barely beat Detroit. They shouldn't have beat Detroit. That was some bullshit.
Yeah, it
They
was crazy.
barely beat Chicago. Russ is amazing as an underdog. 10-4 against the spread when he's an underdog of 3 or more. 6-2 against the spread when he's an underdog of 4 or more. You can throw out all the stats you want. There's 2 words why I just cannot. That just summarize what I feel about this game. Russell Wilson. He's gonna keep them close.
Yeah.
They may not win, but this is going to be a 3-point game. So snatch snatch Seattle at +4. I don't know why the spread is at 4. Maybe there's something out there that I don't know. It's actually gone up. It opened at 3.5. It's now at 4. I'm all over 4. I love 3.5. I love 4. It's going to be a 3-point game, one way or the other. Green Bay. I mean, if you turn on like the red zone or whatever all year long, it's just Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers leading them to a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
Russell Wilson leading into them drive in the fourth quarter. They beat the Bengals by 1. They beat the Cardinals by 3. Just close games. And I don't see any other way around. I don't see Green Bay blowing out Seattle. I'm sorry, I just don't.
Yeah. No, this game, like you said, man, it definitely has potential to be one of the most interesting games of the weekend. I think that if either team wins, no one to be shocked. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
It's just, it's one of those toss-ups, man. But I'm actually leaning on the Seahawks hard this week, man. I've been a big fan this year, man. I know that they lost both of their running backs, but I still think that they'll have some success against this Green Bay's defense, who's a bend but don't break defense, which, hell, you get Russell in position to make it happen, and that's exactly what he'll do. I just don't think that they've seen a team that can, create that magic like they can. You brought up some great points, man. The Chicago game, the Detroit game, the Carolina game. Those are games that they should have easily handed their opposition the L, and they struggled. And I don't think that they have enough weapons to stop the receiving. Seattle has. I mean, with T.J. Lockett, he's had a phenomenal season, and then my man
DK Metcalf is a beast, man.
Yes, I mean, I've been high on that kid all year long. I was high on them last year in the draft. I wanted the Panthers to go out and get him, and you're seeing why now. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, have you seen the kids form without his pads on?
It's funny. I just watched a video about the combine this morning. The Athletic ran a little profile on him, and I mean I mean, God, fast isn't even the word. I mean, blazing.
I mean,
Whatever
for the
word
size
adjective
that
you want to
he
use.
is, man, and the speed that he has, I mean, he's a matchup nightmare for any DB. Um, and I just don't see the Green Bay Packers pulling this one off. So I'm right there with you, man. And if you hell, I was watching ESPN Thursday, and they said the line had moved up to 5.
No, I mean I never. I wish I'd have seen that. I would have snatched that up. But a 4.5 was the highest I've seen it get. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
I'm showing right now the MGM and the Westgate have them at 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just don't see them winning by a touchdown. I mean, I really. I mean, of all these big spreads this weekend, I don't think I'll touch the money line on Seattle. I don't have. Like I said, I just think it'll be a 3-point game.
Yeah.
But and Green Bay, I mean, Green Bay, I'll give him credit. Aaron Rodgers has done what he's had to do this year. Aaron Jones, he's finally got a little a running game. Uh, I just, I just don't see, I just don't see them winning by a touchdown. I think beast mode is not beast mode of old, but
No.
I mean, if Seattle gets first and goal at the 2, I mean, would you want to be one of those interior linemen for Green Bay?
That's
Like
it.
it's and Carroll is going to try to atone for that Super Bowl
I
not
mean,
handing the ball off at the goal line.
yeah.
So if they get down to which it should have been, Seattle really should be the number 1 seed in the NFC. I mean, if the refs had called that pass interference at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco game, the
Mm-hmm.
narrative completely switches. Seattle's the number 1 seed, San Francisco's the number 5, and
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco has to go to New Orleans, for a rematch and or I'm sorry to Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got lost there. Anyway, but if they had called that pass interference correctly, Marshawn Lynch was going to get the ball there, and
No
chances
doubt.
are he's gonna score that, and Seattle's the number 1 seed all of a sudden. So I think that the narrative gets a little skewed because they're the 5 seed, and blah blah blah. But this is a good team. This is a good team, and they are extremely banged up. I get that they have they're a mash unit. They're just hurt all over the place, but it hasn't really stopped them. They should have beat San Francisco. They gutted out a win against Philadelphia in
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
on that note, man, how bad do you feel for Carson Wentz, man? He's waited all this time to get to a playoff game, and
Yeah.
8 games in, gets knocked out again.
Yeah. It's just not meant for him to play in the playoffs, man.
Right.
I saw. I
Right.
did see today where McCarron played that game with a pulled hammy,
Tor-
torn
torn.
hammy. Yeah,
His hamstring was off the bone, and he
Yeah.
played the entire second half like that.
yeah,
Guts. I mean, no wonder he was in tears after the game. Gutsy
yeah,
performance.
yeah. And I don't know. I think there's something mental going on with Wentz too, because everyone. I mean, listen, I get it, man. You feel like you got knocked out, take yourself out the game is probably the best thing to do, but with your season on the line, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was so early in the game. I don't know, man. I mean, he pulled
If-
himself out of that game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then there
And-
was
and
reports
if-
of a lot of anxiety and like Jesus Christ. I think I think he's done. I don't think he's going to ever be the guy, man. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not going to be able to shake it off, And
Yeah.
and if you're an Eagles fan, you got to be thinking, what the hell? We let
Like-
Nick
like-
Foles go, and this is what the hell we got,
And it just seems like to be destiny that Nick Foles can only be a great quarterback in Philly
I've
for
been saying that
whatever
for
reason.
years. I mean,
Only in Philly, like he cannot do it anywhere
No.
else. But damn, he puts that wing on his helmet, and he is Superman. Like
it's crazy. He
It
he
is.
left he left first time and got paid. I think with Arizona. Then he went to not St. Louis but L.A. And then he came back, for a smaller contract. Now he left to go to Jacksonville. Looks like Gardner Minshew is going to be the guy there. So we could see Nick Foles back as an Eagle, and in
Wouldn't it-
early as 2 years.
wouldn't it be perfect symmetry? And the thing is, I mean, maybe by that time Carolina's got their act together. Do you want to see Nick Foles in a playoff game? Because I sure as hell don't.
No.
For Philly.
No, yeah.
But then
yeah.
again,
He's anywhere
then again,
else.
he's not going to get to the playoffs. So
Right.
if he's not in Philly. So anyway, and a lot's been made about Seattle's inability to run away with that game. That playoff football is a different animal, and it's just in Seattle's nature. They just play close games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that worried. They won 17. They won the first game against Philly 17-9.
Mm-hmm.
It was just
Mm-hmm.
that's just their identity. That's who they play. They'll have a blowout here or there, but in the playoffs, I trust Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson as a coach quarterback combo more than just about anybody else in the league. I mean, Lamar Jackson is awesome, great season, MVP, but he hadn't won a playoff game. Yeah, he's 0-1 in the playoffs.
And that's a great point, man. I mean, you look at the coaching matchup, Pete Carroll versus LaFleur. I mean, you got to go Carroll there all day long. He's going to school this young boy. That offense, I mean, outside of Aaron Jones has not looked good this year.
No.
Aaron Rodgers has not looked great this year. Now, he's looked great when it matters, and then that kind of confuses people. You see what he does in the last few minutes of the game, and you're like, oh, my God, he's still Aaron Rodgers. But if you go back and you look at the entire tape, he looks horrible until it's time to step up. And again, I just don't think that I just don't think Green Bay has enough, like you said, to win by a touchdown, and it could be a coin toss. I would take the Seahawks all day long with anything over 3.5 points, just like you would. I like them to win, though.
Yeah. And this isn't the Green Bay teams of old where they're winning games 37-31, 35-28. Go back. I mean, they had one game against Oakland where Rodgers went off, but they won a lot of games 20-17. They won 17-10. This is a different Green Bay team.
And they're calling for what, 8 to 10 inches of snow?
Snow everywhere. Yeah,
take that in consideration. So you're not going to be able to put any pressure on Russell Wilson, from the outside, which is, going to create all kinds of issues for him because, the guy, if you give that guy time, and I guess you can say that about both quarterbacks, but Green Bay has a better tendency to get after the quarterback than Seattle does. I mean, that defense is miles better than the Seahawks. The Seahawks don't play any defense, but if Green Bay can't get at Russell, I mean, they don't. Again, they don't have any hope in my eyes.
And again, would you want to be a linebacker, defensive back in 8 to 10 inches of snow with Marshawn Lynch barreling at you?
Not at all.
You see what I just feel like I feel like there's potential for a lot of stuff to happen in this game that's on the Seattle side of the ball that I just don't feel right about for Green Bay. So
yes, sir.
Call it a gut feeling, but give me the points.
I got you, man. Okay. Well, man, let me ask you one question before we get out of here, man. What are you feeling about the national championship Monday night?
I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, or maybe even before the playoffs started. Boy, give me the orange all day long. 6.5. Well, I don't know what the national number is, but my line that I'm able to, recreationally, look at is 6.5, and it's stayed at 6.5 for a while. So I jumped on that big time about a week ago in case it went down because I was thinking it would go down. Report came out yesterday that like 80-something% of the money is on LSU. Music to my ears. I love it. There's no way Vegas is going to allow that to happen. So
no doubt.
So this is this is one where definitely going to pound the 6.5 with Clemson, and not even a sprinkle. I think I'm going to go pretty hard on the money line as well. I think Clemson wins this. I feel like it's just a deja vu of last year. Alabama favored. Nobody, Clemson's a nice story, but they won't be able to hang in. And they went out there and whooped those boys' butts. And I think everybody's looking at last week. Clemson, got out the gate a little bit slow, and they can't do that this week. They cannot get out slow against LSU. But
I think Ohio State's a better team. I mean, than a lot of people give them credit for.
Ohio State was a great team, and I don't know that they got screwed. I kind of agreed with the overruling on the strip fumble touchdown, but but Trevor Lawrence has not. He hasn't lost a game in like 2 years, going back to high school.
25 straight.
Yeah, he just doesn't. He doesn't lose, and LSU played their perfect game against Oklahoma, an Oklahoma team that probably wasn't that good. They were okay, but their defense was not good. And Burrows goes out there and throws 7 touchdowns in the first half,
Whew.
eight overall. It was a perfect game. The public sees that. Casual people see that. They're like, "Oh, LSU's the greatest team ever." So they go and put all this money on them. Look, LSU could win this game. They could blow them out. I'm not that naive. I just think Clemson is a better team.
Yeah.
I think Clemson's a little underrated. I think and I hate to say it, I love Orgeron. That dude is. I'll watch any interview that you put in front of me that he's given.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Dabo's a better tactician, a better motivator, and I think it's all signs to me point to Clemson. I love it.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I like the orange too, man. Go ACC, man.
And
let's get a
good Lord,
back.
the over under 70. I can't wait to sit down and watch this game. ESPN's gonna have like 9 different channels or something, 15 different channels, whatever it is, dedicated to this game. I'm gonna check out every one of them. I'm gonna watch 5 minutes of the Spanish broadcast. I'm gonna watch 5 minutes of the referee broadcast of the Sky Cam. I'm going to watch it all
I hear you.
because so if you miss a score, so what? Give it 5 minutes. They're going to score again.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be up and down. It's going to be 2 of the best college quarterbacks we've seen in a long time going head to head, and I'm excited. But yeah. Go Tigers. Well,
Go
go
Tigers.
Clemson.
That's what I'm gonna call up my bookie and say, "Give me a hundo on the Tigers and hang up."
On the Tigers.
And now answer the call and then call his ass up Tuesday like, "Dude, where's my money?
Where's my money?
Just
Yeah.
pay me, man, before I come kneecap you."
Yeah. So I love that. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll talk again next week. I'd love to transition into a little basketball too.
It's that time of the year, baby.
After
round ball.
After NFL finishes up, a lot of fun things going on in the college ranks this year. So.
Okay, man. Well, good stuff, baby. Good stuff, man. It's been a couple weeks, man. So glad to have you back. I'm glad you're feeling good. Your voice sounds better than ever, man. Last time I talked to you, I could barely hear you, so I'm glad to hear your voice again, brother. And
it was like puberty all over again. It was,
well, thanks for giving the people what they want, man. But I guess before we
sir.
get out of here, man, you got any tidbits, any nuggets, any games that you want to shout out real quick?
Not unless you want to look at some season-long things and throw a little bit on the Tar Heels not making the NIT. How about that?
On that note. Yeah, no, that's
I love you,
cute.
brother.
That's
I really
cute,
do.
man. Well, hey, man, dadgummit, we'll be back next year, man. But hell, I don't know if Roy's gonna pass Dean this year, man.
Oh man, it's getting a little. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a story for another day. But it's good to talk to you, brother, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Well, Jay, as always, we appreciate it, man, and thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll holler at you next week.
Sounds good, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Peace.